Hi folks, this is Karim Raouf from IT Visualizer channel. We will continue our Lab Matrix labs, the video number 74. I've been discussing in the previous video the following. We are still working with troubleshooting group policies, but before going further in troubleshooting group policies, first we need to identify the components of the group policies, how they work, how they interact with the clients. We need to know that. So we are discussing Mr. Low van der Poel PowerPoint presentation, and we stopped at this PowerPoint at this section, which is concerning the security setting extension architecture from the client side. So we are discussing the security architecture from the client side. If we need to apply a security group policy, how this will be transferred to the client and processed through the client. So this is one of the diagrams. The previous video we have discussed also another diagram concerning the applying of a security policy, and this is further illustration of how this thing is done. Okay, so I have asked the AI tools to explain uh, this diagram as well. Here I have already uploaded the screenshot and asked the AI tool to explain it like I'm a junior IT. So let's see first what was the answer. It was good, but I found that it needs to have more depths in it. So let's read the answer and see what the AI tools said about it.
This diagram represents the architecture of the Security Configuration Manager tools in Windows, often used in the context of Active Directory, AD, to manage security policies across different machines. Let me explain each part in a way that helps you understand how it fits into managing a network with AD. Overview. The image shows several components that are used to configure security settings on computers, such as security templates, security policies, configuration.
Okay, this is the diagram. Okay, let's go further and read. I don't know why the read out loud feature is not working as intended. Okay, let's read it loudly.
This diagram represents the architecture of the Security Configuration Manager tools in Windows, often used in the context of Active Directory, AD, to manage security policies across different machines. Let me explain each part in a way that helps you understand how it fits into managing a network with AD. Overview. The image shows several components that are used to configure security settings on computers, such as security templates, security policies, configuration and analysis tools. These tools are primarily used to configure security-related settings and enforce policies across multiple systems, helping maintain a consistent security posture in a network environment. Here's a breakdown of what each component in the diagram does and how it relates to Active Directory and group policy. Components in the diagram. Security Configuration Manager Tools User Interface. Security templates. Pre-configured sets of security settings that can be applied to systems. These templates define security options like account policies, file permissions, and user rights. Security configuration and analysis. This tool allows you to compare the current system settings with a baseline defined by a security template and apply changes to bring the system into compliance. Security settings extension of group policy. These are the security-related settings that can be managed through Group Policy Objects, GPOs. This includes things like password complexity, account lockout policies, etc. Local Security Policy. This is the local version of Group Policy for individual machines not connected to a domain. Command Line Tool, Cessidit.exe. This is a command line utility for managing security configuration and analysis. You can use it to apply security templates, analyze current settings, and automate the configuration process. You might use it if you need to automate the security configuration of multiple computers in a domain using scripts. System, Local Security Authority, SAM, Registry. Local Security Authority, LSA manages local security policy, user authentication, and maintains security information about local user accounts. Security Account Manager, SAM responsible for storing user account information. In a domain environment, similar information is managed through Active Directory. Registry. The Windows registry stores configurations related to security policies, including passwords, account settings, etc. DLLs, Dynamic Link Libraries. Sesrv.dll. This library handles the configuration and analysis functions, applying policy changes and managing security. Secli.dll. This serves as the client interface for group policy and helps to enforce those settings across the network. Data flow and setup. The diagram shows different flows for policy propagation. Group policy and WMI, Windows Management Instrumentation, are used to interact and apply security policies across the domain. Templates and setup API.dll, security templates.inf files are used to apply consistent security settings. Real-world scenario. Imagine you're an IT administrator managing an Active Directory domain for a mid-sized organization. You need to ensure that all computers comply with a specific security baseline. This includes settings like enforcing password complexity and locking accounts after several failed attempts. To achieve this, you create a security template. You use the Security Templates tool to create a baseline security configuration that includes your requirements. Apply via Group Policy. Using Group Policy, you push the security template to all computers in the domain. This means that every computer gets the same settings, and they are automatically updated if you make changes. Analyze compliance. You can use the Security Configuration and Analysis tool to check if the settings on a computer match the template. If there are discrepancies, you can fix them to ensure compliance. Automate updates with Sesedit.exe. To make your job easier, you create a script that runs Sesedit.exe periodically to apply and verify security settings on all machines. Common pitfalls to avoid. Not testing templates before applying. If you apply a security template without testing, it could inadvertently lock users out or cause compatibility issues with certain applications. Always test new templates on a small group before deploying widely. Conflicting policies. Different GPOs might have conflicting settings. For example, one policy might enforce a maximum password age of 30 days, while another might set it to 60 days. This can lead to confusion or inconsistent application of policies. Always ensure policies are clearly structured and do not conflict. Ignoring local security policies. Group policy overrides local settings, but if a computer is not properly joined to the domain or is disconnected, the local policy may still apply. It's important to make sure that local security policies are configured appropriately as a fallback. Summary. In a typical Active Directory setup, these tools and components help ensure that all computers in your network follow consistent security standards. By leveraging security templates, GPOs, and command line tools, you can automate much of the process, thereby enhancing efficiency and minimizing manual errors. Always remember to test thoroughly and avoid conflicts between local and domain-level policies.
So this is the answer. If we go to the PDF and this link, okay, it also explains the security setting extension architecture, okay, in the Windows operating system. We can see here, this is the diagram, and under it is the explanation. I took the explanation and added to ChatGPT and tell him to modify your answer because I thought his answer was not that good. So I asked it to modify your answer based on the explanation or based on the info I have got from this page. And actually, I think we can ask Claude to, asked Copilot to generate a summary for this page, just to make sure that we are on the line here. If we go there and see let's see first here when he summarizes the page what we can get from this one. Okay, so he's talking here about security policy setting for Windows 10, provides an overview of how administrators can configure security setting on computers or multiple devices to protect resources on a device or network. Here are the main points. security setting extension. The local group policy editor Snap-in allows defining security configurations as a part of a group policy object, which can be linked to Active Directory containers like sites or organizational units. Typical policies: account policies, local policies. We have policy-based management, common scenarios. Okay, anyway, so this is a very brief summary. I asked ChatGPT to modify his answer when I added, so I got the explanation under the diagram, and I asked it to modify his answer based on what I have give him this data. So let's see the answer. If you go there and ask it to explain again, but with the new data added. Okay, let's read it loudly.
Based on the detailed information provided, I'll modify and expand my previous explanation to align more accurately with the extended description of the security settings extension architecture in Active Directory, AD. This will help you better understand the security settings process in group policy and their interaction. Overview. The diagram explains the Security Configuration Manager tools in Windows, with a focus on security settings architecture. These tools are crucial for managing and configuring security policies in a domain environment, allowing administrators to enforce consistent security standards across devices within Active Directory. Security Settings Extension Architecture. The Security Settings extension is a part of the local group policy editor and is used in both local computer, standalone, and domain environments to manage security policies effectively. This extension is central to how group policy security settings are processed and applied across an organization. Here's a breakdown of key components and their roles. Key components. Sesrv.dll. Core role. Sesrv.dll is the core DLL that provides Security Configuration Manager functionality like importing, configuring, analyzing, and propagating policies. It is hosted in services.exe and operates under the local system context. How it works. It interacts with various system components such as the Local Security Authority, LSA, Security Account Manager, SAM, and the Windows Registry through system APIs to manage security configurations. These system APIs allow it to directly modify security settings related to user accounts, system policies, and registry keys. Policy synchronization. In domain environments, especially on domain controllers, Sesrv.dll helps synchronize changes made in SAM and LSA across all domain controllers by updating the default domain controller policy GPO. Communication methods. It uses a variety of communication protocols like Component Object Model (COM), Local Remote Procedure Call (LRPC), Lightweight Directory Access Protocol (LDAP), Active Directory Service Interfaces (ADSI), Server Message Block (SMB), and Windows Management Instrumentation (WMI). Secli.dll. Client-side role. Secli.dll is a client-side interface or wrapper to Sesrv.dll. It facilitates interaction with MMC snap-ins, Secli.dll, and supports group policy extensions. Usage in group policy. It downloads and applies group policy files from the sysfil folder to the local device. It also logs the application of security policies using WMI for resultant setup policy, or SOP data. Integration with setup. During the setup, Secli.dll is used to configure security for files, registry keys, and services using setup API.inf files. Secli.dll. This DLL provides the security settings extension for the group policy object editor snap-in. It is used to configure security settings in a group policy object, GPO, either for a specific site, domain, or organizational unit, OU. Secli.exe, command line tool. Utility for security management. Secli.exe is a command line tool used for configuring security settings, performing analysis, and applying security templates. It uses Secli.dll in the backend to execute these tasks. Common use case. It's particularly helpful for automating security configuration tasks through scripts, making it useful in larger environments where manual configuration is impractical. Cecedit.sdb System Database. Policy Propagation. This is a permanent system database used to manage policy propagation and rollback. It keeps track of persistent settings, ensuring changes can be reverted if needed. .inf templates. Security templates. These are text files containing security settings. They are stored in the sysfil folder on domain controllers and are used to apply security configurations during policy propagation. User databases. These are custom databases created by administrators to analyze and configure security settings outside of the main system database. Security settings policy process and group policy integration. The security configuration engine integrates deeply with group policy to apply security settings across domain-joined devices. Here's how the process works step by step. Startup phase. When the computer starts, it first initializes key services such as the Remote Procedure Call System Service, RPCSS, and the Multiple Universal Naming Convention Provider, MUP. Obtaining GPOs. The computer then retrieves an ordered list of group policy objects relevant to it. These GPOs can be linked to different levels, such as the domain, site, or organizational unit. Applying computer policies. After the network initializes, computer configuration policies are applied first. These settings include security policies that affect system behavior and are applied in a specific order: local policy, site-level policy, domain-level policy, and OU policies. The process is synchronous, meaning each policy must be applied in sequence before proceeding. User logon. Once computer policies are applied, the startup scripts are executed, followed by the user logon. When a user logs in, the system retrieves the GPOs for the user, and user-specific policies are applied. This includes security settings like user rights assignments and account restrictions. Logon scripts. Logon scripts are executed asynchronously after user policies are applied, and they are processed based on group policy settings. Real-world scenario. Imagine that you're managing a company's IT infrastructure that includes multiple offices and over 1,000 employees. You want to ensure that all machines comply with company security policies, such as enforcing password complexity, disabling unused services, and ensuring audit logging is enabled. Here's how you would use the Security Configuration Manager tools. Security templates and group policy. Create a security template.inf file with the desired settings. You then apply these settings through a GPO to ensure all domain-joined machines enforce consistent security. Policy application and synchronization. Using the Security Settings extension, these settings are downloaded from the sysfil folder of the domain controller. They are applied using secli.dll, while cesrv.dll ensures that changes made locally or on the domain are synchronized across the network. Analyzing compliance. You can use cecedit.exe to periodically analyze computers to see if they comply with the desired settings. Any discrepancies can be corrected automatically by applying the correct template. Common pitfalls to avoid. Conflicting GPOs. Ensure there are no conflicting security policies. For example, two different GPOs might set conflicting account lockout policies, leading to unpredictable results. Testing security settings. Always test new security templates on a subset of systems before applying them network-wide to avoid accidentally locking users out or disrupting services. Policy application order. Be aware of the policy application order, local, site, domain, OU, as settings at a higher level, like domain, will override those at lower levels, like local. Ensure that your GPOs are structured to avoid unintended overrides. Summary. The Security Configuration Manager tools provide powerful mechanisms to manage security settings in Active Directory environments. The architecture involves a combination of client and server components, secli.dll and cesrv.dll, which ensure that security settings are consistently applied, analyzed, and modified as needed. By using group policy and security templates, you can enforce standard security policies across the domain, helping to maintain a secure IT environment. Always remember to thoroughly test configurations to avoid potential issues when applying security settings on a large scale.
So even though I don't fully comprehend or understand the concept, but you can refer to Mr. Love and Paul PDF and the links in Microsoft or the article in Microsoft to explain this issue. Anyway, so this is this slide. We will go to the next slide. How do clients get new group policies? Microsoft Update keeps all group policies in. So this is the place of the group policy templates, okay, locally on the machine. So for example, if you are applying local GPOs, not domain GPOs, the local templates, group policy templates are stored in C Windows policy definitions. This is the normal one, or this is the visible folder, but it is linked to another folder, okay, which is WinSXS. Okay, so it appears to be in this folder, C Windows Policy Definition, but it's actually like a shortcut to this one. It's called a hard link. So all of these group policy templates are saved and stored in a secure location, which is WinSXS. Okay, so this is it. It is hard linked to this one. Okay, so this is where the group policy, local group policy templates are stored. Remember, we have on our domain controller something similar, but the group policy templates are in the sysvol folder. We have created in the beginning of the lab something called group policy central store location, okay, where all of our group, our active directory or our domain group policy templates are stored. Okay, so this is the local group policy templates location, storage location. There we can see with a program like NTFS links view, we can see that all of these group policies, okay, templates appears to be, okay, it is hard linked, or they are actually in another folder, okay, in WinSXS. Okay, so this is the like a shortcut to this folder. Okay, so anyway, let's continue. This is also like a promotion for the video of Mr. Lovanden Paul repairing Windows 11, Windows Server 2022 protected file systems, because when SXS, these are protected file systems. They are Windows keep these operating or this important system files in this folder, okay, to protect it, because no one can edit this location. Okay, so it's a good thing to know how we can repair these files in this location. Okay, so this is it, and we can go further. Group policy setting reference spreadsheet. So if you need to know each group policy setting and what they do, you can download them from Microsoft. If we go further and continue with the slides, how to find GP you want. So this is a website. Through it you can see an explanation of the group policy and what does it do exactly. So here you go, we can go copy and try to see the link. So here you can just only for example, this is the control panel GPOs. Now we can see here is the this group policies and each one of them, what does it do exactly. So for example, here you go, this is control panel add or remove programs, and this is the components of the group policy. So you can here find an explanation for each group policy, and you can see here all of them appearing from here. So you can search for any GPO in this website. Okay, and there is another one called ADMX, but these are for group policy templates. Let me show you here ADMX help. So this is also, you can find any group policy for any Windows operating system, or even applications group policy templates. So for example, if you go to Silverlight or System Center and Protection, You can see these are all of the group policies explained. Okay, you can go to each one of them to explain it. Okay, here you go, for example, this one. So here will give you an explanation of the group policy, and you can download the group policy templates from this website. So this is one thing to know. If you go and continue with the slides, uh, here group policy can be used to control. Okay, we all know the group policy used to control security setting, configuring password policies, lookout policies, audit policies, software installation, control who can install, update or remove software. So this is what can a group policy do. Registry based setting, modify setting in the Windows registry for individual users and computers, modifying the environment of the Windows, maybe the backgrounds, maybe the wallpaper, maybe the screensaver. All of these can be changed from the registry. Okay, scripts, assign scripts to run at user login or logoff or computer startup to apply certain things to a user through or during the login or logoff process or the startup or shutdown of the computer. You have seen in the beginning of the lab, I have already created a script to be applied to the user when he logs in. This script will do a couple of changes on the desktop of the user. It will start a program automatically. So all of this can be done using scripts. Okay, and actually I am applying this script through the Active Directory, not through a group policy, but this can be done through a group policy. Folder redirection, directing the path of a known folder to a new location, typically on the server. This if you need all of the local folders of the user to be saved on a file server. This can be done to redirect the local folders of the users to the file server. This can be done using the group policy. Edge setting, configure various settings for Edge browser. If you need to control the browser of the users to see or to disable different extensions maybe, or to disable different features on the browser for their sake, this can be done using the group policy. User and computer environment setting, for example, customizing the desktop environment, desktop backgrounds, menu options, and startup, the control panel options. All of this can be done using the group policy. If we continue with the slides, again he is focusing upon GPOs are one too many. A GPO allow one domain or one admin policy to impact many users or computers, simplifies management, reduce cost, efficient use of resources, implements critical security. So this is a good thing. Okay, if we continue, type of GPOs, we all know, we have seen this before, user policies and computer policies. A group policy is divided to two parts, the user policies and the computer policies. User policies, processing of a user policy is triggered when a user logs in, impacts the user regardless of the computer they log on. Policies are refreshed every 90 to 120 minutes. The opposite, computer policies, processing of a computer policy is triggered when it boots into Windows during the boot process, impacts the computer regardless of the user. Policies are refreshed every 90 to 120 minutes. So very simple. The group policy have three states, or the GPO status. It is enabled, the policy setting is turned on, and its settings are active. You typically enable a policy setting to ensure it is enforced. Once enabled, some policy settings allow you to configure additional options that fine-tune how the policy setting is applied. Disabled, so enable or disable the policy. The policy setting is turned off and its settings are not applied. Typically, you disable a policy setting to ensure it is not forced. For example, a group policy that is when enabled, it will be a security flaw, so you need to disable it. Okay, not configured the policy. This is the default. The setting is not being used. No setting for the policy are either active or inactive, and no changes are made to the configuration setting targeted by the policy. So you can enable a group policy, disable a group policy, leave it not configured. Okay, then we can go, we can see here are the three setting or the three status, GPO status. Then where do GPO begin? So we all know that they begin by creating them in the group policy management console. Then when it is created in the group policy management console, it will be created in the sysvol folder, and it will take its GUID as the name of the folder. Okay, so this is, we can see whenever the group policy administrator creates a new GPO, the GUID folder in this path is automatically created and named with the GUID of that GPO. So what this we are talking about. He is refreshing our mind with all of this data. If you go further, here you can create, right click and create the group policy. Very simple. Okay, and then you can see here in the delegation tab who are the users that can change or modify this group policy. So we see domain admins, group policy creator owners, system. So these are the groups responsible for changing or playing with the group policy objects. So domain admins can modify all of the group policies. Group policy owner creators can also play with any group policy, but the one they have created and the system. Okay, this is very simple. If we go further, GPO backups and reports. Now we can right click on any group policy and tell him to back it up and generate a report with the configuration of this group policy. And this is recommended to back up your group policy if you need to restore it, and to have a HTML report about the configuration of this group policy. So if the backup is lost somehow, you can use the report to reconfigure, create a new group policy from scratch, and use the configuration saved in the report and configure it back. Okay, so this is one good option. GPMC and AD synced. We can see also that there is similarities between the group policy management console and the Active Directory management console. We see that the structure of both is the same. AD and GPS are synced. Changes in AD are reflected in GPMC because, of course, the group policies are linked to the Active Directory OU, so the structure of the Active Directory OU should be the same in both Microsoft management consoles. Okay, so this is better. If we go further, now we can go to extending GPO administrative templates. Admins can add more GPOs for both Microsoft and other software by downloading administrative templates. We have seen this if you need to not control only the Windows operating system. You can control softwares, okay, installed on the operating system by downloading the templates of these software from the website I have shown you from a couple of seconds, admx.help. Okay, this can be downloaded. For example, if you go to admx, for example, I need to control, for example, Firefox. If I have a Firefox installed, or Google Chrome, here is the extension. So here is, we can download the templates of Google Chrome and add it to our group policy management console. Now we have a way to control Google Chrome on all of the workstations in our domain. So, and we can see all of the group policies under it. You can see every or each one of these and what does it do exactly. Okay, so we can continue with the slide. If we go further here, we can see add new non-Microsoft GPOs. This is simple. When you add it to the group policy management console, you will see it added like here. So Google Chrome, you will see in the administrative templates, these are the group policy templates for Google Chrome. I have done this many times in my labs, adding different non-Microsoft GPOs to the group policy management console. There is two ways to do that. Please refer to the first 2 or 3 videos in this series to know how this is done. Okay, so after that we can go. Here is some famous GPOs for Certix, Lenovo, Google, VMware. This is a software for creating reports, Foxit software, Mozilla, Zoom, so on so you can download all of this from the website. Group policy preferences. This is a section in the group policy. It is in the user policies and in the computer policies. You can use them to set some rules, but it is not mandatory, so the user can change them. So there is 2 types of group policies. Group policies you can apply and the user cannot change them, and some group policies applied and the user can change them. Okay, so let's see here the difference between both. So if you go to this diagram, we have group policy versus group policy preferences. Okay, so we have this section, we have policies. These are this section in the group policy will be applied and the user cannot change it. As for preferences, the user can change this section. So here GPO enforce and rigidity group policy setting are enforced by default. Scope covers a wide range of setting. Tattooing group policy setting do not tattoo the Windows registry. We will know what is tattoo later. Tattoo that you cannot remove it, okay, even after disabling the group policy. So for example, if I disable the group policy, the setting should be removed, but if it is tattooed, then we cannot remove it. Even after disabling the group policy, it is still there. We need to remove it manually. So this is tattooing. Let's see here the comparison. We have then after the GPP preference, flexibility and customization or preferences are more flexible and allow users to change the setting after they have been applied. Scope extends the range of configurable setting beyond GPOs. Tattooing GPEs setting can tattoo the Windows registry. So make sure if you have any group policy that contains preferences, you need to make sure if you disable it, then you should remove its setting from the users manually or configure another group policy to remove the preferences from the old group policy. Okay, so we will see that, or we have seen this during migration. I have seen this during migration. So targeting GP includes item level targeting. You can target to specific users and groups. So this can be targeted to some users or groups. Okay, so let's stop at this point. So let's continue, guys. Here let's see the differences here. Group policy and group policy preferences together to achieve a balance of enforced policies or setting and customizable preferences or customizable setting within their managed environment are both components Microsoft group policy framework. So what is an example of a group policy preference? For example, your network mapping drives. These are group policy preferences. The use or group policy custom preferences, okay, or custom setting. The user can simply right click the network managed network map drive and tell him to disconnect it. Okay, so he can control this setting. Okay, and I have already done this in the beginning of the lab to configure group policy preferences. Okay, when I network map drive all of the department's shares. Remember that. So if you go tattooing, if a GPA applies some security setting and later GPA is disabled or set as not configured, the setting remains on the user or computer. This is sometimes called tattooing. This is what I'm talking about. This is very, very critical. If you are migrating from the user profiles from one domain to another, make sure that the group policy preferences are not migrated, okay, because they will still go to the new domain, okay, the new migrated to domain. Okay, so HGPs that can be tattooed, registry setting, okay, driver maps, okay, schedule tasks, shortcuts, environment variables, files and folder preferences. So all of these can be still applied even though the group policy is disabled. Okay, so for example, let me give you an example. For example, if you need to disable a group policy for a network map drive, okay, if you disable it, the network map drive will not disappear from the user. You need to remove it manually or configure another group policy to disable the network map drive. Okay, so this should be done using another group policy. Okay, this should be done. Okay, or modify the group policy and tell him to delete the network map drive, but this should be also done carefully. Anyway, so these are the group policy preferences. If you are configuring a group policy, especially the group policy preferences section, then you should take care disabling this group policy will not disable the setting or will not remove the setting. Okay, so here in what order are GPOs applied? The local policies, then the site policies, then the domain policies, then the OU. This is the order of GPOs applied. What GPOs have the most precedence? OU group policies, domain group policies, site group policies, local group policies, the opposite. Okay, so if we go further and see the diagram, least amount of precedence, okay, most amount of precedence, users and computers. So if you go to the other slide, clients also have a local GPO editor. A local admin can assign GPOs to a local computer and end user of that computer. These GPOs can be overridden by AD GPOs, okay? So this is perfect. We can see that GPOs can be applied to the domain section, default to domain policy, GPOs to the OU section, and GPOs to the site section, even though I didn't use this regularly or much often. Okay, then we can go to the other one, managing group policy object in Active Directory, creating GPOs, linking GPOs, editing GPOs, applying GPOs, managing GPOs, okay, to a domain or OU or a site. Typical GPOs are assigned to OUs. Okay, this is good. Okay, if we go further, we never assign GPOs to containers. So for example, there is something called users containers. We cannot apply GPOs to Active Directory system containers or default containers, built-in or users, okay, or system. You will see built-in containers, okay. We should not link GPOs to it. We can link to OUs, not to containers. This should be also one of the points. And I will stop at this point and come back to you guys. So let's continue, guys. We continue the slides here. We know the option of enforced, to enforce a group policy that maybe you have block inheritance before it. So for example, maybe this group policy, above it there is another OU or another level that you have block inheritance on it. So enforced will make sure this group policy bypasses the inheritance block feature. And enforced GPO ensures that the setting is GPO take precedence over any other GPO that might apply to the same target users or computers but are linked at lower levels in the Active Directory hierarchy. So this also overpasses precedence, maybe. Anyway, I think this is done to enforce group policies that maybe you have block inheritance option enabled on another group policy before it. So let's continue. GPO on steroids become incredibly power asset to your company, of course, if you use it wisely. Company only with a careful AD designed AD. So here we can see AD design and OU layout. The effectiveness of GPOs will be a key component in the AD design and OU layout. So you need to have your, for example, maybe you have in each OU, OU for admins, computers, contacts, groups, servers, services, account services, users. So this is a logical structure that will help you to apply your GPOs. And by the way, I prefer to apply GPOs using security filtering, okay, through group or Active Directory groups, not to apply them through an OU. Anyway, so this is one way to do it. Okay, if we go further, no GPOs. So here Mr. Lovenderpool has a special OU named no GPOs. This OU doesn't have any group policies applied to it, even the default domain policy. So this is a normal normal OU without any group policies applied to it. If you need to troubleshoot a problem maybe arised on a computer or for a user, and you are suspecting that it is related to group policies, you can take this user, move him to this OU, and see if the problem will disappear. Then that means one of the GPOs is the main cause. Okay, so this is one thing. And another OU should be also created here called test GPO. So before applying any GPO on a wide scope in your domain, you can put some test users and computers in this test GPO OU and apply this group policy to them. If they are successful, you can wide deploy them after that. So we can go to study best practices with GPOs, review best practices with GPOs, use some mechanism for documenting your GPO policies. Most organizations have a review process for GPO prior to implementing. Back up your GPOs, keep it simple. Complexity makes for time-consuming troubleshooting. So these are all good best practices. If we go further, here we can see if we need to troubleshoot group policies, you can go to the event viewer, group policy operational, so you can go to this and see the logs. Okay, and there is special event IDs concerning the GPO implementation. For example, we have 6314, 5257. So there is a lot of event IDs. You can Google it, or you can ask AI tools to give you some of the most important group policy event IDs. Okay, so this is it. And then here, consider joining the channel, and you can see subscribe and be a member. Subscribe to the channel and be a member, because it contains a lot of useful videos. I encourage you all to do that. And here is the contacts, and here is the languages. It's translated to a lot of languages. This is a very, very good effort. Even Arabic, it is there, subtitles. So it is a very, very good effort, by the way, and it is very, very useful videos. Okay, and a big thank you to all of the members. Okay, so here, this is the end of the slide. In the upcoming video, we'll begin discussing, if let me show you all the report generated by GPO Azure. So upcoming video will begin discussing this report. What does it contain? Why it is useful for us to pinpoint or to point to certain problems concerning our group policies infrastructure. Hope this video is informative for you all, and thank you all for viewing. Thank you so much.